have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Live from Columbus, Ohio, it's Motown Downtown!
Motown Downtown, come on down to Motown Downtown.
Today's guest, the Landi Lodge.
Come on down to Motown Downtown.
My name is Tyson Brewer, and here's your host, Mo Chocolate!
Come on down to Motown Downtown.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Motown Downtown. And before the show starts, I just want to say something real fast. Ever since the beginning of this month, we've had a brand new episode every single week. And that's all possible because of y'all watching right now. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you. All right, so now let's welcome today's guest, shall we? Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a theorist on the show tonight. A man who's been pumping out theories and speculation videos since 2018. You've seen him at KH20. You've seen him on Twitch. And now he is gracing us with his presence live right here on Twitch. Boys and girls of the internet and everything else in between, put your hands together for the host of the greatest cage podcast, the Landi Lodge! What's up?
Mr. Mo, what's going on, dude? First of all, thanks so much for having me on, man.
Anytime.
I'm looking forward to this, and I think we're going to have a good time, dude.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We've all been waiting for this all week. But first, Mr. Lodge, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here on Motown Downtown Season 3. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dude, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to host my silly butt. It's going to be a good time, dude.
Of course, yeah,
Actually,
of course.
Can I ask, can we curse on here, or should I keep it clean?
Fuck yeah, we can curse on here. Go for it,
Okay,
yes.
okay, fuck yeah. Okay,
18 and
okay,
over. 18 and over. 18 and over.
Okay, good to know. Good
We're
to know.
we're already off to a fantastic start. Nice. So, my first question is, well, I mean, for those watching right now who have no idea who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, I will say, dude, you are an excellent hype man, and I felt you gave me a beautiful intro. But for further clarification, hi, I'm Landi. I run the Landi Lodge. We primarily do our stuff over on YouTube. We've got a podcast where we talk all things Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy. We'll dive into other RPGs like Persona, Pokemon, Fire Emblem, you name it. We're going to dive into it at one point or another. But again, a lot of my content, be it the podcasts, the theories, the analysis, it can all be found on YouTube, and we're primarily talking Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, but as I said, we dive into our other RPGs from time to time. I also do live stream on Twitch. I do have a Twitter account, so YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, the Landi Lodge is a big old eye as a logo. You can't miss it, so I'm easy to find. But yeah, man, look, that's what I do. I'm here to make the wait in between games a little easier. I'm here to point a few things out that maybe you missed along the way, you know, whether it be analysis, theories, whatever it be. I just love these games. I love talking about them. And if you like hearing about them, come hang out.
That was the best answer. And we just started the show. I love it. And so my first question is, how did you get into video games? Like, what's some of your earliest memories as a young gamer? Were you Team PlayStation, Team Nintendo, Team Sega, what?
So you're asking for the origin story. I'll give it to you. So we'll get into the Nintendo, the Sega, Sony of it all. But actually, if we're being honest, my gaming journey started on PC playing Putt Putt Goes to the Moon. Playing all those games. Some people in the channel probably know what I'm talking about, but playing lots of games like that on the PC that eventually I graduated onto the NES and Sega Genesis. That's what I had in my house when I was young. My earliest memories are playing Super Mario Brothers with my brothers, playing Sonic the Hedgehog with my brothers. We were an NES and Sega Genesis family. Those are my earliest memories, and I'd have to say, like, even though RPGs are really where I do most of my gaming now, platformers is where it all began.
Nice, yeah. We love platformers here as well. I'm a massive fan of platformers. So, were you Team Nintendo, Sega, what?
I gotta be honest, in the early days, I was a Sega guy. I was more drawn to Sonic than I was Mario, whether it be, going fast, the color blue. I don't know what it was. I was just always more drawn to Sonic. And, that probably had something to do with the fact that I had a Sega Genesis versus an NES. So the hardware was just better. The games were just better. So I started out as a Sega guy when it came to Sega Nintendo. But then when Sega kind of fell out of favor, it kind of became a civil war between Nintendo and Sony, where I feel like Nintendo won the first half of my life.
Yeah.
But Sony and the PlayStation they're winning the back end right now. But hey, no disrespect. I got a lot of love for Nintendo and what they do.
Yeah, so do you necessarily have a favorite console by any chance?
Favorite console of all time? It's tough. I think my favorite console ever is going to have to be the GameCube, with the PS4 at a close second and the PS2 in third.
Okay, that's good to know. So now I want to ask about your content creation career. Like, what would you say was the big deciding factor, the big, inspirational moment you've had that you said to yourself, this is what I want to do? Like, what was the big driving force to start doing content on the internet?
So here we go. We're going way back in time. We're talking when I was maybe 11 years old. I was watching lots of sprite movies on newgrounds.com. And for those who aren't familiar, sprites are the pixelated characters in some of the old 16-bit, 8-bit games. And a lot of people on the internet back in the day were ripping those sprites out of the games and reanimating them into their own stories.
I haven't heard of Newgrounds in forever. Thank you for the nostalgia bomb right now. Thank you.
Hey, you're asking for the origin story. I'm gonna give it to you.
I love it.
There was a guy, Randy Solomon, rest in peace. He made a series called The Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Where he took the sprites from Super Mario World on the SNES and he created this wild, bloody, gory epic based on the Mario Brothers series where Mario gets killed and Luigi rallies the Toads and the Yoshis to storm Bowser's castle and avenge his dead brother. And they did this whole funeral scene with the Titanic music. It blew my mind as a kid. And I was just I want to do that. I want to do what Randy Solomon's doing. So my content creation journey started over on newgrounds.com. My account name was Blood Eagle, _Eagle. And I made my own Smash Brothers tournament with a plot where I got all my favorite video game characters together, even some anime DBZ characters, and they just duked it out. And meanwhile, the whole time the tournament was basically this ruse that Metal Sonic created so he could get revenge on Sonic because he knew Sonic was going to win the tournament. Basically, I had this whole thing planned. So that's actually where my content creation journey started, and I did that for a few years, up until the time I was 15, 16, and then I kind of fell into music, writing my own music, doing stuff that.
I see the guitar back there. I like that.
Absolutely. Got to respect the origins, man. Got to respect the origins. So I spent a lot of time creating music, writing songs, being in bands, traveling around my tri-state area and playing stuff. In college, I did a lot of that. And then, I never fell out of love with music. I still love music to this day. But I started to really fall in love with podcasts. And,
nice.
I knew I wanted to do what I'm doing right now for a while. But I felt like I had to right some wrongs in IRL, in my day-to-day life. I had to figure some things out before I continued this journey of, creation, artistic expression. So I took a couple years off making stuff, and it was right around think it was autumn 2018. I was like, I think I'm ready to do this again. And I wanted to make a podcast sort of the center focus of my content. And that's when I launched the Landi Lodge, which, phase one was very different from what it is right now. In phase one, where I grew up, and I guess it was just the age I was, a lot of people I knew were like pursuing some sort of artistic endeavor or content related endeavor. And the show started where, actually kind of similar to yours, where I was having creators on and kind of picking their brains and interviewing them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it sort of just involved, because I was like, you know what? I love doing this, but like half the people I were having on, within 3 months of having them on, they gave up on what they were doing. So the content didn't really have legs. So it shifted into what it is now, where I was like, you know what? I want to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about the stuff I'm passionate about, and I'll have on whoever wants to have this conversation with me. So it evolved into what it is now, where it focuses on like gaming, RPGs, anime. Sometimes we get into movies or some shows, but yeah. And I think it was right before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was still just doing the podcast at this point, but I was like, I want to do something like to express my love of this game. So I made like a fan trailer and I put it on YouTube. And it got like, yeah, dude, and it got like 1,000 views.
Wow.
Which to me at that time was like, whoa.
Amazing, yeah.
It's not going to pay your bills, a 1,000 view video on YouTube, make no mistake. But to me, it was like, oh, this resonates with people. And so I started just from there. On the side of the podcast, I started putting out, not anymore like fan trailers, but I started analyzing Kingdom Hearts and, talking about the mythology, the mythological inspirations for Kingdom Hearts. Like, I think what really took off, like launched my channel, is I made a whole series talking about the sins of the foretellers, because each one of their names in Kingdom Hearts, the foretellers, each one of their names is the Latin word for one of the 7 deadly sins. And so I made a bunch of videos, like, for example, Ava is short for avaricia, which means greed. So I did like this whole video being like, hey, here's where Ava's actually being a little greedy. Here's how she's acting out her namesake. So, and it really just kind of snowballed from there. And I was like, you know what? Why not do some Final Fantasy? Why not do some Zelda? Why not throw in a little Persona? And, here we are now.
Now that, ladies and gentlemen, that was one question. So
I'm a bit of a chatterbox, man. So.
That's fine. That's why I brought you on here. So yeah, y'all grab some snacks while you're at it. But yeah, so my next question is, that was an awesome story, by the way. Like, the fact that you started on freaking Newgrounds, incrable. That is amazing.
Baby.
I was on that all the time back in middle school. So my next question is, your username, the Landi Lodge. What's the everyone has a unique story on their online username. What's the story behind that username?
Gotcha. So, all right. So Landi is my name. Go ahead and dox me. I'm ready for you. But Landi is my name, so that explains that. And when it comes to Lodge, it's like, my whole life, I've always, like, wherever I lived, whether it be like when I had a dorm in college, or me and my friends got a house, or when I got my own apartment, or I got my own house, like, I've always just kind of had the spot people come to hang out. Like, I used to do like fire pits in my backyard and people would come over. So like, I've always kind of just had the hangout spot, and I, like a lodge. And, I have fond memories of when I used to visit my uncle in upstate New York, and we would go skiing. And there was this ski lodge we would go to whenever we were done skiing. And it was just like the coolest place to hang out and chat. So I was just like, yeah, Landi Lodge. It was almost the Landi Lounge, but I liked Landi Lodge better.
Huh. I mean, honestly, they're both good names. I like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. The hangout spot, the homie hangout, pretty much. I like that.
Homie hangout.
So, now I want to know, so you start streaming on Twitch and stuff. Well, actually, no. Because we covered YouTube, but, like, what made you decide to give Twitch a try? Like, how did you discover it? And you said, you know what? I want to live stream myself playing video games. How was that whole process like?
So, that's a good question. I don't remember the exact moment where I was like, I want to do this. But I just remember, this was already, I was always a few months into the podcast. I think it came when I started making the videos analyzing Kingdom Hearts. And I started to watch, here's a shout out, I started to watch Lunar Lux play through a lot of these games. And I don't know, I loved just like watching guys like him play games, hanging out in his chat and talking, because it just reminded me of like younger days when you used to have your friends over, and if you were playing like a one-player game, everyone was just kind of like hanging out and making their comments, and it just seemed like a good like virtual digital space to kind of replicate that. So I was like, yeah, let me give that a shot. I saw guys again like Lunar having a good time doing it. Can't remember many. I didn't watch a lot of streamers, if I'm being honest. I think the only guys I would watch were the ones making either Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy content. But I just remember being like, hey, this is kind of a cool hangout, you know? So I just wanted to replicate that in some way.
Nice. So what would you say was the one game that gave you the best streaming experience and the one game that gave you the worst streaming experience?
That is a good question.
I came prepared.
Yes, you always do, don't you?
Yep.
Let me think. The best?
Also, while you ponder on that, let me give a shout out to Rune. Thank you for the 2-month Twitch Prime sub. Thank you. Thank you very much. You are the best. Thank you, sweetheart. Carry on, please.
Gotcha. So, the best? That's tough. I'll shout out a couple for two different reasons. One, there was a time where I streamed a lot of Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
And that was just fun because it really just felt like a party. And that's how I met Treehouse, actually. Shout out to him. So I really have fond memories of streaming Smash because it just seemed like a group hangout when in those days when I was doing that. Another game I really enjoyed streaming was Soul Calibur 6 because I was actually pretty competitive in that game. I think on PlayStation, I finished like top 1,000 in the Western Hemisphere.
Nice.
For Soul Calibur 6. So it was actually cool to kind of have like my own cheering section while I was climbing the ranks, and people were in the chat saying, "Get him, Landy! Get him, Landy! You'll get him next time." Like that it was kind of what I was fishing for when I got into streaming. But for the worst experience, I really haven't had any bad experiences streaming. I'm a lucky
None?
one, I guess.
Like
I
no
can't-
game made you rage or throw your controller and rage quit? Nothing like that?
I'm not an angry guy. I'm not an angry guy. I'm a pretty chill dude. Like I take adversity pretty well. If I can't, like, I grew up playing Zelda, man.
Yeah.
And like Zelda's all about getting stumped, getting stopped in your tracks, having to sit down and figure it out. So it's like if there was ever something in my way, I'm like, that shit's only there to make me better. But I want to answer your question. I guess if I had to pick what the worst streaming experience I had was, probably Mario Party, because I just kept losing. Like, I don't think I've won one Mario Party game on stream. So even though I had fun streaming it, but if I had to pick a worst, I guess that's what I would pick.
Hey, that's a very rage-inducing game. Trust me, I know. So that's a good answer. So my next question is, compared to your setup for Twitch now, compared to when you first started, how much has it improved, would you say?
Oh, man. It's a different world now. So I used to have, this old laptop that I used to do, everything on. And it was just, I had a laptop that was on its last legs when I started streaming, to the point that, every 45 minutes, it would just get, the capture card would give out, and I'd have to reset the capture card, or, it would lag, or I was forced to stream at 480p because I was new to all this stuff.
Yeah.
And, when I recorded the podcast, I wasn't doing it on my laptop. I had a camera that I would use, and then I would upload the footage onto I used to upload it onto my work computer and spend my lunch breaks editing the podcast together because my work computer was so much better than my laptop at home. But these days I invested in a really good gaming PC that has changed my life, has changed my channel, that has made streaming smooth as butter. So it's night and day from when I started. And I used to do it not only in my bedroom, but I didn't have a backdrop like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would just see my bed, my window, and some shit on the floor. So it's night and day now.
Yeah, that's pulling Andy Brew, if you ask me, seeing his bed in the background.
He doesn't even have a bed right now, man. He's mattressless.
I believe he has a mattress now, I think. I mean, I could be wrong.
Did he get the mattress?
Yes, he did. Andy
should
Brew
do
got the mattress. He got
He
it.
should do a mattress stream.
Yes, I agree.
Like, he should stream from the mattress.
Somebody contact Andy and tell him that. But
And
yeah,
Andy on the phone.
ASAP. Call him, beep him. So then, next question is, what advice would you have for anybody that wants to start streaming on Twitch now in terms of equipment and how to like grow a community and stuff?
So the first thing I'll say, if you don't mind, I'll just tack on like YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to get into this space, be it streaming, podcasting, talk shows, YouTube videos, like, you got to follow your bliss. Don't do this because you want, like, don't get me wrong, you can take a chance and try to make a career out of this or try to make a job out of this, try to make a part-time job out of this. I'm not saying don't have those aspirations, but make sure you're doing this because it's something you love and it's something you enjoy. And again, Joseph Campbell, big influence of mine. Follow your bliss and don't be afraid. You know? Like, don't cover the games you think are popular. Cover the games you love. Cover or stream the games that you love, that you have something to say about. Like, and like when it comes to building a community, I could tell you open a Discord, connect with people, collab with people, network with people. But all of that comes second to you having an authentically good time. Like that comes first. First, you got to sit in that seat. You got to have one viewer on Twitch. You got to have 20 views on YouTube. And you got to love what the fuck you do. And people have to feel it. While you're playing, they have to feel it. In your voice, when you're narrating your video, they have to feel it. Don't make your love of doing this dependent on an audience or dependent on analytics or dependent on what's popular or what's trendy. Again, follow your bliss. Don't be afraid. And it's going to open doors for you where you didn't think they would be before.
Can't hold it back anymore. Pretty much.
Yeah, baby.
That is, you are just full of incredible answers, man. This is why I invited this man. The best answers. I love it. So
Don't flatter me. We went through this in the pre-roll. I don't do well with flattery.
And more to come. But like, so my next question is, what do you think about your community that you grew? Like your thoughts on your own community, and do you have any shout outs you would like to give also?
Well, I got the best fucking community, man. Like, I've got the best community in the world. If you're saying I can give shout outs, I want to give a shout out to my sages of the lodge. These are people that have had my back. Like, earlier in the year, I had like a little bit of a health issue. It was nothing serious, but it was something that was keeping me from being as productive as I was. It was something that was kind of holding the content back a little bit. But these people, their support for me never swayed. And, it's funny. People like to say I have the 1%, that my community is like the 1% of Kingdom Hearts fans. Just because, like, if you ever hang out during a podcast, we do it live. And after the 1 hour mark, I always open it up to the chat. And man, these people have theories and knowledge like you wouldn't believe.
Nice.
I swear, I yell at half of them to do their own content. But if I could give shout outs, let me give shout outs to Tyler Hittilli, Joel Edward Brooking, Stephen Brown, Aaron Rudin, Brendan Abrams, Corey Barchat, Nick Taborski, David Fries, Scott Castellano, M.A. Yosuke, Josh Z, Grey Goose Gummy Bears, Burning Baboon, Umbra Munin, Game Changer, Lamb, Billy the Kid Lawrence,
Go.
Lands of Masters,
Yes.
Suko Bars, DJ Ghoul,
Yes.
Corey Sarakis, Brady Burleson,
Yes.
C-Man, Gaseous Snake, Jan Van Ass, Jordan Krupka, Mookie, and
Tell 'em.
Orpheus Joshua, man.
That's-
Those are my sages,
So-
and that's who I got. That's who I got love for.
The fact that you memorize all those names, that's impressive, man.
No,
that's
cards
impressive.
on the table. Cards on the table. I pulled up a list. Cards on the table. I'm not going to sit here like
I thought
have
you
every
memorized it.
Like, no.
That's funny,
No.
that's
Cards on
funny.
the table. Face up.
That's pretty funny. Got a shout out to them. So now that we got how you became a content creator out the way, let's get to one of my favorite topics on the show. Let's talk about Super Smash Brothers, shall we?
Okay.
Because
okay,
there's a reason why. But yeah, so now what I want to know, besides Sora, what was your favorite and least favorite character reveal for Smash Bros?
Ooh, favorite reveal.
Besides Sora.
So favorite reveal was Sephiroth, dude.
Yes.
That Sephiroth reveal had me screaming. Not because, like, don't get me wrong, I really wanted Sephiroth in the game, but the trailer, like of Sephiroth just showing up and bodying the whole roster, and then him and Cloud get into like this rehash of Advent Children. I was losing it, dude.
Amazing trailer.
And like my least favorite, this is hard. I'm not like a negative person. I don't think there was a reveal that bummed me out, but
There was for me.
was it Steve?
Yes.
Let's go with Steve. Let's go with Steve.
It's like, no disrespect to anyone out there that likes Minecraft. I don't. I play Minecraft, not a fan. And what made me upset is that I got up at 9 a.m. really early, came down here, went live, and I'm like, oh, he's in darkness. It's Sora. And it was Steve. I was like, bye-bye. I turned the stream off immediately and went back to bed. So yeah, I was not happy at all about that. But yeah, Sephiroth had me screaming, bro. Just like, 'cause I love Final Fantasy, I love Advent Children, and seeing how they recreated everything, and Sephiroth just, and the fact that they allowed Mario to be stabbed, I was like, what? Like, I know it was a parody, but the fact that Nintendo allowed their mascot to be in that image was just so surprising to me. It was.
Dude, me too. It was, you know, there are some creators like Sakurai who just, I don't think Nintendo has the balls to say no to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he just gets to do what he wants.
So, but going back to Sora, now, I'm sure you're aware of this, but like, there was a huge battle online about people, because people were saying, no, Sora's never getting in, blah, 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 and then there's people who actually have brains, like you and me, who, we knew Sora was possible to get in. But like, there was so much bickering back and forth. Why do you think it was so hard for people to accept the fact that Sora could get into Smash Bros?
I think some people just have an aversion to Disney, and I'm not going to invalidate that. You know, certainly no corporation on this earth is benevolent.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like, I like when it comes to Sora, I really think it really doesn't come down to anything more than that. That people were just like, no, this is video games, this is Nintendo, and Sora is a Disney property, which he is. You know, Square Enix kind of has all the power over him. I really think it just came down to that. You know, I'm someone, I grew up in the 90s, so I love all those Disney films. You know, I have my gripes about that corporation now.
Especially right now. Pay your writers, Disney. Pay your fucking writers. Seriously. Just, I'm sorry, carry on, please.
Well, the problem is, no, it's okay. The problem is Disney's broke, man. If I could just go on a tangent, they keep making movies that the budgets are $300 million to make them. Then they do a $200 million marketing budget. It's like Indiana Jones, which I'm not saying the movie was a bad film. I know some people who really enjoyed that film. But the problem is they've boxed themselves into a corner where they're spending $500 million to make a film. And then when they don't make enough money, they go, oh, what happened? What happened? How'd we lose money? Not everything's going to draw like Avengers Endgame, but I feel like they just box themselves into a corner where they're spending $500 million on every movie, and then when it doesn't draw like Avengers, everyone's looking around like the John Travolta meme. Where's the money? So they're going broke. Don't get me wrong, Disney's not going out of business anytime soon, but I think they just released something. They're going to start selling off some assets. I think I just saw in the news they're selling off some properties.
Really?
Here's the thing. They're not broke because they have assets that are worth billions. You know what I mean? Between their parks, their IP. But when it comes to liquidity, like liquid cash, they're not doing very well. You know? They're not doing very well. The theme parks are still cashing in, but their movies are just not making money because they're spending too much to make them, and they want to put it all on the writers and the actors who, you know, they're not perfect, but they're not the ones green-lighting a $500 million budget to make a Pixar movie that's going to sell $100 million in tickets. That's my rant.
Yeah. Rewinding back to Smash Bros. Now, Landy Lodge, if you were in charge of the next character to get into Smash Bros., who would it be and why?
All right. Great question. Look, I have a lot of characters I would prefer to see in Smash, but if you're gonna sell people on the next Smash Brothers, the next character has to be Waluigi, and he has to be the main villain. Sold. That's what I would do. if I was in charge, I'd be like, you're booking Waluigi.
Yes.
Day one. He's a day one announcement, and he is the villain. And what you're going to do is make a one-player campaign mode that's meta about Waluigi being left out of previous Smash Brothers. That's what I would do.
I mean, they chose a plant over him. You can't get more insulting than that. You really can't. But like now, is there something now? That's one character that you would want for like the community, but is there one that you personally, in your heart of hearts, would love? Like me personally, I want Kratos in Smash Bros. That's because after Sora, I'm like, I don't want anything else, but I would love Kratos. Now, I know Sony and Nintendo don't get along, so that's probably never going to happen, but that's my like impossible dream. But how about you?
Man, if I could have anyone. All right. I would pick, honestly, I think I'd pick Xehanort. Call me crazy. I would pick Masters, just like we have Cloud Sephiroth. Give me Sora Xehanort. You know what I mean?
Oh man, Sora just can't escape from Xehanort. That's so funny.
No, sir.
It's like Cloud it's like Cloud when he sees Sephiroth. Like, you're here too? Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
But now the reason why I bring up Sora in Smash Bros. Because now I want to talk about Kingdom motherfucking Hearts. Okay, so yes. So like, how did you discover Kingdom Hearts? And what was the first thing that went through your mind when you saw it for the very first time?
So I'll never forget. I actually very vividly remember the moment. I was just standing in my parents' TV room way back in the day, and the commercial came on. Simple and Clean was playing, and I saw all these anime characters. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I saw Simba, and I was like, Simba's in this game? And then I saw Cloud Strife, and I was like, there's a game with Simba and Cloud? And I'm like 10 years old, and those two guys are like my heroes. So I'm like, what is this? And I just remember being taken aback by it, and I didn't have a PlayStation 2 yet. You know, it's like, I think it's 2002 when that commercial aired. I don't have a PlayStation 2 yet, but I know what's going on my Christmas list. So Kingdom Hearts 1 actually wasn't my first game in the series because I had a Game Boy Advance. And when Chain of Memories came back, I was on it. On it. And I loved it. I have very fond memories of Chain of Memories. LOL. To this day, I think it's a great game. To this day, I think the pixel art from the Game Boy Advanced still holds up. Also, the fact that like you could battle your Sora against somebody else's Sora in Chain of Memories on the GBA. That's
like, pretty cool.
Bring that back.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude.
I want more multiplayer things like that in my Kingdom Hearts games. But I'm sorry, buddy. I'm not a fan of Chain of Memories at all. Chain of Memories, like I'm not a fan. But if people who love it, cool. But the battle systems, I just can't get into, man. That's just my. But that part, sword versus an online sword, that's freaking awesome. I like that.
I'm hoping it comes to the Nintendo Switch Online. I think that would be pretty cool, and then maybe people will be able to pull that off. But dude, I feel you, dude. Like, I'll tell you this, like, once I did, very soon after I got Chain of Memories, got my hands on a PS2, and got Kingdom Hearts 1, there was no comparing the combat, you know what I mean? There was no comparing the presentation. You know, I was sold on the 3D, games, no question from that point on. So, again, I loved Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance, but I'm with you. It does not compare to the PlayStation 2 games at all.
Period, yeah. So next question would be, what was the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3 like for you? For all of us in the community, it was a different experience. Me, it was gut-wrenching and impatient. But for you, what was that 13-year span wait like for you?
So, it actually wasn't too bad because, for one, in the 13 years, they only developed it for like 5 or 6. But in that 13-year span, we got some games. We got Dream Drop Distance. We got the back cover movie. We got Fragment. Like, we had some stuff to chew on while we were waiting. But I will say, in that 5 to 6 year span, from like 2013, 2014 to 2019, the wait wasn't too bad because I was broke as a joke during those years. I was having a good time. Don't get me wrong. I was enjoying myself. But it was when I had like just gotten out of college. You know, I didn't have like a lot of money to my name. So I was actually playing a lot of retro games. Honestly, the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3 was just full of playing Kingdom Hearts 2, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Final Fantasy 7. You know, it really wasn't that bad of a wait. I was always excited for it, but you know, it's funny. Like here, it's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
I remember when they first started talking about it, and I didn't have a PS3 yet, and I was like, I'm not getting a PS3 until Kingdom Hearts comes out. And wouldn't you know it, I never got a PS3 because it never came to the PS3. But I will say the last 6 months waiting for it, when I had my PS4 and I was playing a bunch of games, playing Final Fantasy 15 and a bunch of games like that. Tears of the King, not Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild came out, you know, a little bit before it. You know, it really wasn't that bad. I don't know. I guess I've always just been kind of patient with these things. You know what it is? It's because I'm a Zelda fan, and like Zelda games always have such a large gap in between them.
They do,
Even like Tears of the Kingdom, which reused a bunch of assets from Breath of the Wild, was a 6-year wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't too bad. The last 6 months dragged because I was just like waiting for it, you know? But I don't know. The wait never bothered me.
Now, do you feel as though Square Enix over promoted KH3? I remember at one point I was like, I want a new trailer every single day, man. And now I'm like, please fucking stop. Because holy shit, it got to a point where besides the ending, we've seen everything. Every single world, Keyblade transformation, final boss, and even parts of the ending. Like, do you think Square over promoted the game?
I will say this. I don't necessarily think they over promoted it, but they showed us too much, which was kind of what you were getting at.
Yes.
The emotional climax of Kingdom Hearts 3 is Sora falling on his knees and screaming to the heavens. And they gave that away.
Yeah.
They gave that away. Man, if none of us knew that was coming, that moment would have broken so many people. But we all knew it was coming. We all watched it a million times in the trailer. You know, them showing us what Disney Worlds are going to be there. I don't even think the anti-Aqua reveal was too bad. Again, like it might have been a little too much, but you could show a little bit of the story content because at the end of the day, the anti-Aqua thing wasn't the biggest deal. You know, it was relatively momentary.
Small, yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a spoil. But they definitely showed us, and they showed us Scala ad Kylum, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like they should have kept. I know we had the whole Cable Town thing, but we shouldn't have had Xehanort and Sora shown in Scala ad Kylum together. That gave away too much.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they just gave away too much. Look, if you want to keep dropping trailers and feed us breadcrumbs, I'm here all day. I'm here all day. But don't give away the emotional climax. Don't give away where the final battle's happening.
Yeah.
Don't give that stuff away. Like, I think, you know, and I think Square has learned since those days because the Remind marketing showed us like nothing.
Yes.
Like none of us knew Yuzora. None of us knew Yuzora was waiting for us at the end of Remind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If anyone out there has enjoyed Final Fantasy 16, they showed us nothing. About Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
So I think they've learned their lesson. And like with Rebirth, man, with Rebirth. And I love that they're doing this. Like, you know, they're not showing us, is it one timeline, two timelines? What's the deal with Zack? What's the deal with Sephiroth? All these trailers are, like I said, they're giving you the breadcrumbs. And they're letting you just chew on those breadcrumbs while you wait. I think that's the way to do it. Make as many trailers as you want, but don't give people the gravy. Do not give people the gravy until release day.
I like that.
I
I like that. That is a fantastic out of figure of speech. I like that. This is why I invited this man, boys and girls. This is why. Freaking genius. But yeah, it's like...
Stop, Mo, stop. No
I
more
can't
flagging,
help
bro.
it. You're so awesome. I can't help it. But it's not...
You're a very handsome man, okay? Now I'll fire a little bit back at you. You're a very handsome man. You got a great show, great setup. And man, I gotta say, you look good in the suit, dude. That should be your day-to-day wear.
All the time, yeah.
You should walk around town in that suit, man.
I have another suit. I have another suit hiding in here next to my chocobo. But yeah, so like, I mean, so next question would be, but going back to what you said, because that's what they did with Tears of the Kingdom. They showed us very little, and that's what they should do for KH4. But we'll get to KH4 later in the stream. But like, I think that's why a lot of people did not like KH3 when it first came out, because they seen almost everything in the trailers. But like, because I personally loved Kingdom Hearts 3. When it first came out, I loved it. But it's no secret that a lot of people did not like it. So in your opinion, why do you think it split the community in a half?
Well, that's because every Kingdom Hearts game does this. Like, I'm old enough to remember when Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, and when that game came out, it was Civil War. It was the same thing. And suddenly Kingdom Hearts 1 was like on this pedestal of like perfection and perfect game design. Everyone's like, what happened to the platforming? Why is it so much easier? Why are there more Disney worlds? Sound familiar? You know, it's like, this is just the internet. Like, I'm with you, dude. I loved Kingdom Hearts 3 from day one. I think base Kingdom Hearts 3 is better than base Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, let me say something. I love Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 might be the most important game to me in my life. It found me twice when it first came out, and when I was in college, it found me twice when I needed it most. So it's a very, very important game to me. So I don't say these things lightly, but I think base KH3 was better than base KH2, and KH3 Remind is better than KH2 Final Mix. And this ain't a diss track. I'm not dissing any of the games here, but I loved Kingdom Hearts 3. I thought the combat was amazing. The game not only like made me like belly laugh a couple times, but like made me cry on like 3 separate occasions. I'm not a big crier, you know, but like it really struck a chord in me. Most notably, like when the Sea Salt Trio reunites and they hug it out. Like, dude, I was a wreck during that. And I just thought it was brilliant. I'm not gonna lie, and like, it's going to age very well. You're already starting to see it. Like, you kind of already see it in the zeitgeist that like people are starting, ever since Remind kind of dropped, people are now holding Kingdom Hearts 3 in a higher regard. They feel the need to say, ever since Remind, ever since Remind, ever since Remind. And there is some truth to that.
Yeah.
There is some truth to that. But this is just how things are. Games get better. The games get better with time. And the other thing, too, is like the narrative style of Kingdom Hearts is that the games that come after, they bleed into the games that came before them. So base Kingdom Hearts 2 comes out, right?
Yeah.
Great game, great story and everything. But when you revisit Kingdom Hearts 2 after playing Birth by Sleep and after playing 358 over 2 days, suddenly the game has a much more powerful message. Suddenly the Roxas prologue means a lot more. Suddenly everything with Xemnas and the fact that he's Xehanort's nobody means a lot more. You know, again, this is just kind of how Kingdom Hearts narrative works. Like revisiting Kingdom Hearts 3 after the Union Cross finale, after Dark Road, after Melody of Memory, now all those scenes are way more poignant and they mean more to the narrative.
Yeah.
So Kingdom Hearts just structures itself in a way that when you go back to it, it's sort of elevated by what came after.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I never thought of it that way. That's a good point. Incredible. Yeah, I can see that too. But like, so, because I will say that I do agree. KH3, after Remind came out, in my opinion, is better than 2. But I generally love all the Kingdom Hearts games. And speaking of all the Kingdom Hearts games, do you have a favorite and least favorite game in the series?
So Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite game in the series, and I will say Remind in particular, that 4 to 5 hour block of Remind plus the limit cut bosses is peak action RPG.
Yeah.
I fully believe that. Air Step is one of the best mechanics ever introduced to an action RPG. The boss design of those limit cut bosses are incredible, and just, man, the flashiness and the aesthetics of the combat is, look, I could go on all day about that.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite game. If I had to pick a least favorite,
could be the mobile games, could be Missing Link because they haven't revealed anything yet. Just saying.
I will say, I think Coded gets a bad rap because I think it's a better game than people give credit for. The story just isn't as impactful as other games. But Union Cross is probably my least favorite game.
Okay.
because you're just tapping a screen,
Yeah.
which is like, the story's phenomenal, but it's a game at the end of the day. Games are games; they're meant to be played, and playing Union Cross was really never a lot of fun for me.
Me neither. Me neither. It kept crashing my phone. So I feel that. So my next question is, Landy, when the hell is Kingdom Hearts 4 coming out?
Well, the answer is it's coming out when it's ready.
That's-
It's like, look, Mo, do you have a crock pot at home? You ever cook with a crock pot?
Somewhere back there, yeah.
Somewhere back there. Things in the crock pot, they take a long time, right?
Yeah.
But don't meals out of the crock pot taste better than meals out of the microwave?
Yeah, they do. They do, yeah. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is in the crock pot, right? Square will call when it's dinner time. Could be next year, could be 2025. But, again, I think this just goes back into like why the Kingdom Hearts 3 wait never bothered me. It's like, look, my backlog is big enough as is.
Yes.
Take your sweet ass time, Square.
I
think
have
we get it.
FF16, we have Rebirth, and hopefully Missing Link, and then KH4. So yeah, we have plenty of games to play during the wait time.
And I'll humor your question. If I were to make a prediction, holiday 2024.
I like that. So next year, basically.
Yep.
Okay. Like, for me, if I were to pick, I'd say somewhere in spring 2026. And here's why I say that. Because
Crock pot, baby. Crock pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
The game was announced, like, officially in last year, right? 2022?
Yes, in spring of 2022.
It usually takes 4 years to make a game. And that's 2026. But knowing Square Enix, they'll probably delay it like they did with a 3. So if I were to guess 2025, 2026, but at the same time, take your time, Square. No rush. Like you said, we have a backlog of games. Rebirth is going to take forever, and I cannot wait. That's true, yeah.
Dude, I'm so hyped for Rebirth. It's ridiculous.
Very much so. But it's like, now, do you have any theories on, like, what happened to Sora in 4? Like, we all know how he got there, but do you have any theories? Because this is where we get into the theory side of the show. Okay. Do you want to share any of the theories you have regarding KKH4?
Regarding Kingdom Hearts 4 specifically, so, man, I've got a lot. I'll start with a theory that kind of got my YouTube channel off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that. And man, when did I put this out? I put this out like February 2020. It was like right after Remind came out. I think the Master of Masters is the embodiment of light. And I think our villains are all light-based now. There's been a lot of foreshadowing into that. And I think that he, in a sense, is... How do I put this? He is like I said, he's an embodiment of light. But I think he's based on the mythological Lucifer for many different reasons. I could get into it.
All right.
But, for one instance, they talk about like one big point of evidence I have is when he's telling Xehanort his name. Right before he says what his name is, he tells Xehanort, truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. And then when he says, my name is, he goes silent and there's a flash of light.
Oh, yeah, there is a light.
Flash of light. On top of that,
his name is John Cena.
John Cena. But all the foretellers are named after the 7 deadly sins, right?
I didn't know that.
Yep. So all of them are named after the Latin words for the 7 deadly sins, and there's 6 of them, right? So that leaves the sin of pride. Now, I feel that Vanitas might be a secret foreteller because Vanitas is the Latin word for vanity, which is a synonym of pride. But let's take it that the master might be the 7th figure in that role. Lucifer, he is literally the archetype of pride cometh before the fall. He's the fallen one, a fallen angel, a lost master. Catch my drift?
I never thought of any of this. That's actually pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I could go on all day about it, but let me maybe humor you with another theory. Based on simply KH4, I, for one, man, there's so many ways I can go with this. Okay, so can we talk? Let's talk about Yozora. Let's talk about Yozora, Verum Rex versus
Please,
13, all of that. I think there's a fourth wall narrative going on, and it's all centered around Yozora. So, look, it's no secret. Yozora is based on the Noctis from Versus 13.
Yes.
He's the Noctis that never got to exist.
Yes.
That's why he's in the world of fiction, right? Because he never made it to the other side.
Yeah.
He never made it to Sora's side, of reality. He's this game that's sitting on the shelf. What did Ansem the Wise tell us at the end of Dream Drop Distance, right? Sora has this unique power to bring back the hearts and existences of those connected to him, to recreate people we thought were lost to us forever. Now, I think Nomura, in a very fourth wall breaking 4D chess moving kind of way, is using Sora to recreate someone that was lost to him. The Noctis from Versus 13. He's literally using Sora's in-universe powers to revive a passion project that got put on the shelf and taken away from him. Now, I feel like in so many ways, that battle at the end of Remind, Sora versus Yozora, was representative of Nomura's internal struggle, because one of the reasons Kingdom Hearts 3 took so long was because Nomura was working on Versus 13.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Kingdom Hearts 3 couldn't exist until Versus 13 was completed.
Oh, wow.
But, as we know, Versus 13 never got completed,
Yeah.
got shelved into the world of fiction, and I feel as though that battle is sort of like Highlander. There can only be one could exist. And Square basically told Nomura, you're off this project. This is now Final Fantasy 15. Tabata's taking it from here. You go work on Kingdom Hearts. And I think Nomura was like, all right, motherfucker. All right, I will. You watch me. So anyway, I think Yozora in a lot of ways I think him just existing purely is a fourth wall breaking narrative that has come to Kingdom Hearts. That's why he's in the world of fiction. That's why he's in Quadratum, which is the Latin word for square. There's a lot of Latin phrasing going on here.
Yeah.
So Latin word for square. He's in this fictional square world that, anyway, I don't think I got to put any more into it, but I think, again, everything with Yozora is this fourth wall breaking narrative, and it's Nomura using Sora as a way to revive a project that was dead. Because we know they're going to work on a Verum Rex game.
Yes.
Versus 13 is coming one way or another.
Yes. Yes. Another incredible answer that really blew my mind and everyone else's mind too. So my next question is a more simpler question. What worlds would you like to see in KH4?
Okay. Do my answers have to be realistic?
Give us a clown makeup prediction and a realistic prediction.
Okay, let me go with the realistic ones, and then I'll give you some of my pie in the sky ideas.
All right.
So, I want to see Toy Box return, but I want, since we're in fiction, unreality, the other side, I want us to be in the toy box that the other toys were separated from. So now we're in the toy box where Jesse's there, Bullseye, Bo Peep. That's the toy box I want to go to, where Andy's there. That's where the other cast is, right? Because the world got split in Toy Box, and I feel like that was foreshadowing into Quadratum in the world of fiction, and that's why Yozora was teased in Toy Box. That's why we actually went into the Quadratum video game. So I would like to see the unreality version of Toy Box with those other toys. So I would like to see that come back. I would like to see Wreck-It Ralph. I think Wreck-It Ralph being literally a video game Disney World sells itself.
Yes.
I think that would be a great way to include Final Fantasy characters too. Because again, you have this video game world. Excuse me. So it's very compatible.
Yes.
Okay, so that's two of them. What else would I predict?
Treasure motherfucking Planet.
That
we
was
all
gonna- I'm
want
not gonna
Treasure
lie.
Planet.
That was one of my pie in the skies. I don't think there's any way that's coming, but that was a pie in the sky idea. I would love to see Treasure Planet.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is a given. I think
Yes.
Star Wars
Yeah.
is coming. We saw it in the trailer. We know Nomura is a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Again, it writes itself. Keyblade lightsaber, Darth Vader secret boss fight, like writes itself.
Zemnis has a lightsaber, basically. Basically, yeah.
Yeah. That's 3 of them. What else would I include? What else is going to return? Some
Lilo
other
and Stitch.
ideas.
Well, no, Lilo and Stitch was in the game, so never mind.
Yeah. What else would be compatible? I don't know. The problem is I have diner syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at a diner menu and there's a million options.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm looking at when I look at the Disney catalog. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to see Lion King come back.
Yeah, yeah.
Just because that's like my favorite Disney movie. So I'd
But
love to
one
see
thing
come
that
back.
I would love is a Disney afternoon world. Because the thing is, there's Goof Troop, there's Darkwing Duck, there's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. All these characters...
Oh, I see.
all these characters are already in the game. So what if we like travel back in time to when they were in their younger days and imagine a Goofy movie world? Imagine the possibilities of a Goofy movie world. That's what I want.
I'm all for having Max in Kingdom Hearts. You kidding?
Yes, all the way.
I'm all
yeah.
for it.
So we're going to segue now away from Kingdom Hearts, and now we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake and all things Final Fantasy VII. So for this question, this is going to be massive spoilers for FF7 Remake. So if you haven't played the game, leave now. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so seeing how at the end of 7 Remake that Zack is alive, so going into Rebirth, do you have any theories? Because people are saying that 7 Remake is a sequel to the OG 7, and Sephiroth is like time traveling guy from Advent Children. Like, do you have any theories as to what's going to happen in the future 7 Remake world universe thingy?
Mo, I have spent countless hours trying to figure this out. But I think Square Enix so cleverly played their hands, there's like no way to actually know what the fuck is going on. And I will say, I'm a big fan of that. FF7 is a top 3 Final Fantasy for me. I played it countless times. Countless times to the point I'm actually bored of it. Like when I go back and play it, I'm a little bored of it.
Yeah.
Even though, again, top 3 Final Fantasy for me. I've played it countless times. But they've crafted this remake in a way that it's like the element of surprise is back. So I get to explore this world again, but now I'm on my toes again. So I, for one, am a big fan of these narrative choices. Now, with that said, for Zack, sheesh. So, yeah, I think this is a sequel, but it's not a conventional sequel. You know, Final Fantasy, historically, if you go to Final Fantasy 1, the whole game of Final Fantasy 1 is a time loop. It's all a time loop. It's looping back on itself.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what Remake is, if this is just lap 2. This is the second lap on the loop, but Sephiroth has his memories, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of throwing everything into a crux. So the planet is now feeding Aerith information to combat the fact that Sephiroth has information from the first loop. Whether it's 2 timelines or 1, I can't tell you. There's evidence for it being 2 timelines.
Yeah.
There's evidence against it.
Now,
With
do
Zack?
you? Well, no, I'm sorry. Go on.
No. Ask your question. Go ahead.
Do you think? Spoiler alert for FF7. I mean, it's a 25-year-old game, so shame on you for not playing it for so long. Do you think Aerith will die in the remake?
I think she should. I think she absolutely should.
Oh.
I love Aerith. Let me just
We
say
all
that.
do,
I
yeah.
love Aerith. I think she's one of the best heroes in the history of gaming.
Yeah.
I think she lives out a mythological archetype that speaks of self-sacrifice that is beautiful and everlasting. However, one, she will not die the same way. The reason one of the reasons Sephiroth lost in the original game was because Aerith was able to cast Holy from within the life stream. Sephiroth's not that dumb. He's not just going to do that again. So I think now we're going to see an Aerith that gets to die on her own terms, who gets to make a self-sacrifice of choice, which will make it more powerful, more poignant. Someone who is choosing this fate for the betterment of the planet rather than her stumbling into it that she did in FF7. Right? In FF7, I remember there was a conversation in like the Misty Forest with Cloud where she's like, I think I know what I have to do, you know? And, she ends up, sitting there in that prayer, waiting for her moment. I think we see her now have agency over her death. And I think that would tear us all apart, right? I think if we saw Aerith make a sacrifice, perhaps alongside Zack, the two of them together, hand in hand, arm in arm,
Oh my
make
God.
a sacrifice.
Oh my God.
Right, instead of them getting gunned down or killed by some malevolent force, the two of them now have the strength and power to make a self-sacrifice to save the planet. I think that could be a very powerful thing.
That is
Square
going
Enix
to
has the
destroy
opportunity to do.
everybody. Everybody's
Exactly,
going to cry.
Mo. Exactly, Mo. Exactly. That's why they have to do it. That's my prediction. And I think, because let me tell you something, man. Like, look, you could keep Aerith alive and you could keep Zack alive and we could have our happily ever after. But you got to understand that, like, FF7, the heart of FF7 is from Sakaguchi, the founder of Final Fantasy. It's from when he lost his mom. That's why Mother is such a big mother, whether it's Genova, who is like this devouring mother, and you have the planet, which is sort of like this benevolent mother. That's why, like, that's such a big theme in FF7 is because Sakaguchi lost his mother and he wanted to express that in this game. And, Aerith is like the mom of the party.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So if you were to lose that sense of loss, it kind of takes the heart out of FF7, if you ask me.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I never knew that his mom passed away, and that's what inspired some of the events in 7. Wow, that's another thing, another mind-blowing fact. Thanks.
Well, did you know originally, I believe it was Katase's idea that they were going to kill off the whole party besides 3 characters?
What?
But Nomura was actually the guy who walked into the room and said, no, only Aerith. It'll matter so much more. And that decision by Nomura created the most memorable death in the history of video games. So I think they'd be foolish to turn their backs on that now.
I just can't believe Nomura had that much power, and he was just a character designer. That's pretty impressive.
No, FF7 was the first game where he got writing privileges.
Oh, I
yeah.
thought he was just a character designer.
He was up until FF7. He might. I'll double check. I'll do a little live fact check.
Do it live.
I know he was a big designer on Final Fantasy VI. I don't think he was a writer for FF6. Let me look at this. Yeah, no, Sakaguchi and Kitase wrote FF6, and if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the writers for FF7.
Oh, never mind. I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought.
He has a writing credit. Nojima and Kitase are the main writers, but he does have a writing credit. So
another thing I didn't know till now. Wow, I love you, Lodge. I love you, Landy.
That's what I'm here to do, man.
Seriously, that's why I brought you on. Yeah. So, what is your state? What is your thoughts on the state of Final Fantasy as a whole right now? Because with the release of 16, it's doing really good here in the U.S., but not so much so in Japan. Do you feel as though that Final Fantasy is like straying away from turn-based and more towards combat like 16 and 7 Remake just to make the Western audience happy and ignore their Japanese market? Like, what do you think?
So I'll say this. Loaded question, but I love it. Starting with the state of Final Fantasy, in my opinion, they're in the Silver Age. The Golden Age was FF6, FF7, FF8, FF9, FF10. That is a rally in a series that I don't think you'll ever see again. Not just in Final Fantasy. I don't think any series can go on a rally like that again, where every game they drop, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 5 games in a row that could have been game of the year, and are a lot of people's like favorite game ever. So that's the golden age of Final Fantasy. I don't think we ever get back to that, but I'd say we're in the silver age right now. FF14, one of the best games ever made. I'll die on that hill. FF15, which it's a bottom tier Final Fantasy for me. but it's still a good game, especially after all the DLC and extra content got fleshed out. You have Remake, which to me is some of the boldest narrative decision I've seen in all of media, because I, for one, I am sick to my stomach getting stuffed with remakes. Okay, like, for example, two of my favorite things growing up, Lion King and Ocarina of Time. Both of them got remade, and I couldn't stomach either remake. I was playing Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, got halfway through it, I was bored because it was the same freaking game I've been playing since I was a kid. The Lion King remake, it looked realistic, but it sucked. To me, it sucked the soul out of the movie. It was boring.
I hate that remake. I hated that remake.
It just doesn't work, Mo. And then with FF7 Remake, they were like, nah, element of surprise is back. We're putting you on your toes. Don't worry. You're going to go through Midgar. You're going to go to Calm. You're going to go to the Northern Crater. You're going to the Golden Saucer, Cosmo Canyon. Don't you worry about it. But you're on your toes because you don't know what could happen next. I love that because they could have played it safe and just given us a fresh coat of paint. But you know what? I think I would have gotten bored along the way. And I think there wouldn't be nearly as much conversation around it. But anyway, with that said, I think Final Fantasy truly is in a silver age. Final Fantasy 16 was remarkable, absolutely remarkable. It's not a perfect game by any means, but it's beautiful.
Yes.
Especially narratively. Absolutely stunning and beautiful. So I think the series itself is in a silver age, and they're in a much better place than they were 10 years ago. Now, as for what you addressed about the Japanese audience versus the Western audience, here's the tough thing. The Japanese audience is in love with mobile gaming.
That's true.
Not just phones, but that's why the Switch in particular does very well in Japan.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, if you look up a day in the life of, the average Japanese student or the average Japanese salaryman or worker, they don't have a lot of time for video games.
Yeah.
They get home from long commutes, long days at school or university, long days at work, and they eat, they shower, and they go to bed. They don't really have time for console gaming. They maybe get, 1 day a week for it. So it's not just Final Fantasy that's suffering in Japan. It's console gaming in general. This is one of the reasons Nintendo made the Switch, because they needed to accommodate for what Japanese culture was becoming. Now, with that said, it's quite obvious that Square Enix and Sony are, for lack of a better term, starting to pander to a Western audience.
Yeah.
Just because our lifestyles can accommodate for the time of console gaming. It's just our lifestyles are a little bit different, especially with the amount of people who work from home now.
Yeah.
Cutting down commutes. And I think with that said, I think at the end of the day, their Japanese audience will always be primary in the sense that these games are made for them primarily. It's how do I put it? It's mostly tuned to their customs, to their culture, right? Even though the sales are more attuned to the West, the games themselves are very true to their culture and very true to their customs. But it's very obvious that there seems to be a redirection towards the West, and that's why you're seeing both Nomura and Yoshi P. They want to get rid of the term JRPG.
Yeah.
Maybe they really don't like that term, but there's a part of me that doesn't buy it because, Mo, I'm sure you're like me. You use JRPG endearingly.
Yeah.
I tell people, I only play JRPGs, because Western RPGs don't really do it for me. But I think they want to get rid of that because they want to reach a more international audience. I think this is also one of the reasons Yoshi P wanted to make a Final Fantasy based on medieval Europe, that has a lot of winks and nods to Greco-Roman mythology and Greco-Roman culture. So there seems to be that going on, both with Square and the Final Fantasy series. So, yeah, I think that answers your question.
Yeah. That's another fantastic answer. I love that. So, moving on now back to Kingdom Hearts topic. I want to talk about KH20. that happened last year. I wasn't there, but you, my friend, you were there. Tell me about some of your favorite memories from KH20.
It's got to be when we beat the shit out of a Donald Duck pinata. Like, it doesn't really get any better than that. Being surrounded not only with people you've made connections with over the last like couple years, but all these new people you met who share a love for a series and a story and a game that you've fallen in love with. Like I've loved this series for 2 decades now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to be surrounded by all those people beating the shit out of a Donald Duck pinata because he refused to heal all of us throughout the years, that's definitely a top line memory for me. I think, just overall being in the space and just meeting new people, meeting people that I had like met digitally, but actually getting to be with them in person. And, even the times where like, people group up and you go out to dinner or, you hang out outside the venue and you chat about, something non-Kingdom Hearts related. I met a lot of cool people there. Like I met ill-fitting trousers for the first time when I was out there, and that dude, that's my dude right there. That's my homie.
We love ill-fitting trousers here. We love them.
Oh yeah,
we do.
He's got the second best name on Twitch.
Yes, he does.
Second best name.
That's a fact.
The best name goes to Larkscene Simp. Shout out to them. And I'll put Cushion Boots at number 3. So, moving on from that weird divot. I think just getting to meet everybody in person, like meeting Lance in person, awesome guy. Meeting Guides in person and Mrs. Guides.
Yes.
Both amazing people.
Both were on the show.
Yeah, and that was a great episode of yours. Meeting Keyblade Brett, I met him too. I believe it was him who he gave me, we did a table read and I did Master Xehanort, all of this was decided. And he gave me like a Master Xehanort card that he made that I still have. Just cool stuff like that, at least for me, like here's a little Kingdom Hearts origin stuff is like, I've got a lot of friends who are into games.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of friends that are into Kingdom Hearts. Aww. So to be in a room filled with people who love this as much as I do.
Yes.
It was just a great time,
feeling in the world. Best feeling in the world, yes. So this question is not actually on my list. It's actually from the chat. Our homie Bambina wants to know, explain the bat photos. What exactly are the bat photos?
Well, hello Bambina. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing well. The bat photos. So here's what happened. I actually road tripped to Texas with Treehouse and Andy, and we took my car. And when it came time to beat the duck, we forgot one crucial thing.
Oh my God.
What are we going to beat the duck with? Now, maybe it's because I grew up in New York. Maybe it's because I went to college in the murder capital of New York. I always have a bat in my trunk. I always got something to protect myself. Should the worst happen, should Andy and Treehouse had broke down in Bumblefuck, Louisiana at 3 a.m. on the way to Texas, I had something in the trunk that could protect us a little bit. So I was like, hey, I've got a bat. So everybody was just like celebrating because like, oh my God, we can beat the hell out of this pinata. So, I believe her name was Daedriana. I got in her car. She drove me to like the far end of the parking lot where my car was. We got the bat. And then when I was pulling up, I rolled out the window, leaned out, and I started chanting Beat the Duck. And you would have thought, I use this reference all the time, but you would have thought it was like the moon landing, like at NASA where everyone starts high-fiving each other and going crazy. So it was just kind of living off that adrenaline and getting people pumped up. So, yeah, it was, look, who would have thought? I brought a bat in my car trunk in case we got a flat tire in Bumblefuck, Louisiana at 3 a.m. And who would have thought it'd come in handy to beat the hell out of a duck pinata?
Moments like that is what I'm looking forward to the most in Reconnect. And speaking of Reconnect, my next question is like, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to at Reconnect? And if you're allowed to tell us what you have in store for Reconnect, can we hear it maybe?
So I'll say this. What I'm looking forward to is hanging with the homies. Like Mo, I've known you a couple of years now, but you and I have never been in the same room together. I look forward to giving you a nice high five.
Big bear hug. Big bear hug.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
You're a hugger, man.
Yeah.
Good to know. I'm mostly just looking forward to hanging out with people. Like all the events that are going on, like Andy's doing Melody of Madness and the Super Spaghetti Brothers are hosting. Like all that's going to be cool. But to me, all that is secondary to just being in the same room as everybody and not only getting to hang out with people that I've known for years now, but getting to meet new people. Like that's what Kingdom Hearts is about, right? Making those connections. So that's what I look forward to for the most. As for what the Lodge and Reconnect is cooking, I signed an NDA. I have to be tight-lipped. I can't say anything right now.
Yeah, Mickey, the Cage guide is off camera with us. There's a red dot on your forehead, actually.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions left, and a reminder to everybody: stay tuned till the very end of the show for our next guest announcement. So yeah. So I want to know, what would you do, Landi Lodge, if you found out, the first thing you would do if you found out you were partnered on Twitch?
I don't think I'd really care.
Oh. You'd be like,
I mean,
meh.
seriously.
You'd be like,
Meh.
meh.
Well, because to me, it's like, what does that change now? What does that change? They still take 50%. They used to only take 30. They still take 50%. Now they're watching me. You know what I mean? Like, I stream simultaneously to YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch doesn't allow for that,
Yeah.
but they don't care because I have an average of like 10 to 15 people watching when I play stuff on Twitch. So
That's
they don't
a good
care.
point. I should change
And,
that
like-
question then.
Like, I just really wouldn't care because, like, dude, the Lodge thrives on the sages of the Lodge, the people I listed at the start, and being partner doesn't change whether or not those people support me. And, like, from people who support me with the podcast. And, like, that's the thing. YouTube is kind of my primary. Twitch is very secondary for me, and I'm already partnered over on YouTube,
Nice.
which, has more rewards than not being partnered.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like being partnered on Twitch would give me more problems than not being partnered. Now,
That's a good
if you want to
question.
be like, you need an average of 75 viewers to get partnered, right? Now, if you ask me if I stream FF16 tomorrow morning and I have an average of 75 viewers, what am I doing? I mean, then I'm having a good time. then we're partying. Then I'm gonna do a Master of Masters cosplay stream to celebrate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
a good
if I had
point.
if I had the Twitch viewership to account for being a Twitch partner, then I would do some kind of fun cosplay stream, something
I
like
that. That's a good point. Yeah, okay. So my next question is, Mr. Lodge, when are you going to add that chocolate flavor to your show, huh? When can Mo Chocolate be a
know the
guest
answer.
on your
You know
show?
the
When?
answer. You already know the answer. We're talking about late August. There's a little sneak preview for everybody. In late August, you can expect Mo to step into the Lodge for his Lodge debut. Hopefully before any of these trailers drop. Because as you know, when these trailers drop, I like to get everyone who's ever been on the show for like one mega episode. But yeah, dude, late August, if you guys are looking forward to it, Mo will be stepping into the Lodge. What we're going to be talking about, we're going to keep that a secret for now. But yeah,
Yes.
late August, baby.
While we're at it, can one of the mods please give a shout out to the Lodge, his YouTube channel and Twitch channel in the chat, please? Thank you very much. So my last question is, since some of your members from YouTube is watching right now, what are some of the future plans you have for the community you want to announce right now for the people watching?
Ooh, okay. Some future plans?
Yeah.
We're going to do a little hydration before we get into it. Okay, so I'm cooking a few things up to enhance the podcast a little bit. I don't want to give it away because I think the element of surprise, just like with FF7, the element of surprise, very important. So you can expect the podcast to be elevated in terms of production within the next few months. I'm working hard on a few things with that. When it comes to theories and stuff, that's going to be more of the same. I'm going to get into some more long form stuff. But, other than like enhancing the podcast, okay, here's an idea. Here's something. I do eventually, here's long-term Lodge plans. I do want to create like a spin-off podcast where I actually have people in person in the Lodge. Now, that is a long ways away. This is something I've kind of discussed openly on, my show or live streams before. But that is like long form Lodge stuff. And you know, we're working on a lot of things for the long term.
Nice.
You know,
nice.
well, I guess I'll leave it at that. I'll tell you this: I'm working on a story of mine, and that's probably a good half decade away. But just want to share those things with you. You asked very nicely.
Alrighty.
Lodge is always cooking. The Lodge is always cooking and always looking
nice.
ahead.
And we are going to start cooking now with the fan favorite section of the show called Top 10 Questions on Motown Downtown. Okay, I apologize for that. Audio was supposed to play, but it didn't. Wow, go figure. I'll fix that off the show. But I'm going to now go into the top 10 questions, where I ask my guests 10 questions, courtesy of Inside the Actors Studio. So, Landy, are you ready?
I am ready, sir. Fire away.
All right. So, first question is, what is your favorite word?
Ooh. Favorite word? Gee, I don't think I've ever thought about that. Love.
Okay. What is your least favorite word?
Integer.
What makes you happy?
My wife and dog.
What makes you upset?
Betrayal.
What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of music, man.
Amen. What sound or noise do you hate?
Like, the sound of, like, metal scratching on metal. Ugh.
We've all been there, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Landy Lodge, what is your favorite curse word? Have to think.
Probably bullshit. Bullshit is very powerful.
It is, yeah. It is. Someone who did not say fuck for once. So, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Ooh. Archaeology. Archaeology or writing?
Okay. What profession would you not like to attempt?
Being in the circus?
We've all, yeah. Now, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I need to have a word with you.
One more round of applause for our friend the Landy Lodge, please. Brother, this was without a doubt the best episode we've had so far. You were one incredible guest, giving amazing answers. Thank you for coming out here. Give us one last goodbye for the audience.
Oh, Mo, first of all, dude, thank you for having me on. I genuinely had a fun time. This was great. I'll always remember it fondly. As for the audience, thanks for coming to hang out. Listen, guys like Mo and I, we do these things, but they wouldn't mean half of what they mean if not for people like you who show up, have a good time, spread the good vibes. If you're looking for more of the good vibes like Mo's got, head on over to YouTube, look up the Landy Lodge, where we're always talking Kingdom Hearts, always talking Final Fantasy. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, and we'll keep the love of all these things going.
Yeah, so we're gonna go raid our friend KH Guides, the master behind all this. So you will, and by the way, thank you to Ale Dagger for the raid. Thank you. But you will be in charge for the raid message? What will it be?
Raid message?
Yeah.
Reconnect hype. If we're going to guides,
All right.
all caps, reconnect hype.
Hype. Everyone just copy and paste that in his chat. So now we are going to announce the next guest for Motown Downtown. We will watch that, and then onwards to Cage Guys. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you, Lodge. Love you to death. But I'll see you. I reconnect in September, and I'll see you guys this Monday for more RE4 remake. So until then, we'll catch you later. Bye bye.
Next time on Motown Downtown.
Oi. And it includes like Toy Box, or I call it Toy Box, or Toy Story. You know, Toy Box because Kingdom Hearts, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Come on down to Motown Downtown.